So he grabs Draymond's leg right there. Now Draymond steps on him.
3 off back iron. Levert, one man to beat Klay Thompson. He'll put it up and in. Their counterattack is serious tonight. Watch out now, Draymond. Just keep Draymond away so he doesn't get another tap.
Every team has an enforcer, and the Warriors have Draymond.
The reason Draymond went so demonstrably is that Gobert had Klay in a headlock.
Yeah.
And Draymond's not feeling that at all.
With just over 20 games in, Draymond Green has already been ejected 3 times this season, and his latest incident with Jusuf Nurkic pushed the NBA to take some necessary countermeasures. I mean, is this WrestleMania or basketball?
Oh, man.
Well, that's going to be a flagrant.
Yep.
After delivering that nasty hook right there, the NBA has suspended Draymond indefinitely, which means he won't be joining the Golden State Warriors for the foreseeable future. This recent development is a big blow for the Dubs because we all know that Draymond is a key cog for the Warriors on both ends, and his leadership, defense, as well as his playmaking are vital to what they're doing. Anyway, a bunch of former players and talking heads from the media gave their varying 2 cents about the Draymond situation, with one of them being Jamal Crawford. Now, when he was asked to react to the situation, Crawford slammed Draymond for his actions and had this to say.
I love Draymond to death, but to be honest with you, there's no place for that in the game. Like, I was looking to see what Nurkic did to warrant that. And it was a normal defensive play.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like there was some, that from what we see, it wasn't like there was something else that happened that, kind of warranted that. So I don't think there's a place for it in the game.
Crawford was right when he said that what Draymond did has no place in basketball. I mean, if this happened back in the 90s when brawls would flare up on a nightly basis, I think Draymond would not be as severely punished as he is right now, and he would probably just get a tap on the wrist or be asked to pay a fine. But we're now in the modern era, and the league has expanded and grown tenfold. What I mean by this is that the NBA has become global with lots of people tuning in and paying hard-earned cash to see their favorite players play hoops, not punching someone in the face or kicking players in the groin. The bottom line here is that the NBA's reputation is on the line whenever this stuff happens, and I think the NBA made the right move stepping in and telling Draymond, "Alright, enough is enough." Anyways, Kendrick Perkins had a history of getting into ugly fights back in his playing days, and here's his advice to Draymond coming from one troublemaker to another.
Stephen A. and Wendy, I brought this up earlier about my incident when I had to go to anger management. Going to anger management, 1, you have to address that you have a problem. Number 2, you got to figure out a way to cooperate while you're trying to resolve the issue. And number 3, you got to take full accountability of your actions, okay?
Perkins suggested that Draymond enter an anger management program, and I couldn't agree more with him on this one. I mean, we all know how fiery of a competitor Draymond is, but sometimes he just can't control his emotions and tends to cross the line on multiple occasions, regardless if it's intentional or not. By undergoing therapy sessions, I think Draymond will have the chance to address the root cause of his wild behavior and possibly explore ways to restrain himself right before he blows off. Anyway, his former teammate Kevin Durant was on board with Draymond getting extra help, and here's his genuine message to Draymond when reporters asked him about the issue.
That was insane to see. Glad Nurk is all right. Never seen that before on the basketball court in the NBA game. I hope Draymond gets the help he needs. It's been incident after incident, so I know Draymond, and that's not, he hasn't been that way when I was around him and coming into the league. So hopefully he gets the help he needs and get back on the court and put all this stuff behind him.
Draymond should actually consider himself lucky that Adam Silver just suspended him indefinitely as opposed to being suspended for the rest of the season. I mean, if Draymond was playing under the David Stern era, he would have definitely been handed a huge fine with lots of zeros in it, and he'd be sitting at home unpaid while supporting his team from the comforts of his couch. I totally agree with KD that his former teammate needs help, and he needs it immediately while there's still time. Don't forget, guys, there were many rumors that Draymond was the primary reason KD left town. Now, on the other hand, as much as players are all on the same page of getting the help that Draymond needs, it becomes harder and harder to sympathize with a man who seems like he doesn't feel any source of regret for his violent actions in the past. I mean, just listen to what he had to say over the last 2 incidents that he got involved in.
I don't live my life with regrets. Like I said before, I'll come to a teammate's defense anytime that I'm in a position to come to a teammate's defense. That's what a team is. You stick together through the good and the bad. And I take that to heart. What matters to me is how the people that I care about feel. First and foremost, how are the people that I care about affected? How are the people that I care about, what do they have to deal with? I think that's it for me. You know, to continue mentioning like, oh, well, what he did in the past, I've paid for those. You know, like I got suspended in Game 5 of the finals. So you can't keep suspending me for those actions. He was pulling my hip and I was swinging away to sell the call, made contact with him. As you know, I'm not one to apologize for things I meant to do, but I do apologize to you, sir. Because I didn't intend to hit him. I sell calls with my arms. I don't fall or to sell a call. I'm not a flopper. So I was just selling the call because he was grabbing me and pulling my hip back. So I spun away, and unfortunately I hit him. And so like I said, I apologize to you, Seth, because I didn't intend to hit him.
Have you seen the replay?
Yeah.
How did it look to you on the replay?
I mean, as I've said before, any replay, you know, if I go look at every replay of everything, a replay it's never going to look good, you know, but like I said, I know my intentions. My intentions were to sell the call. And, you know, I also don't think I'm an accurate enough puncher to do a full 360 and connect with someone. So it's unfortunate.
Based on Draymond's statements, he seems to not be sorry at all for the things that he did as of late, as well as the things that he did in the past. I mean, it feels like Draymond is not even aware that what he did was wrong to begin with, and he's always justifying his actions by way of protecting his teammates. Anyway, while most of his fellow players are in full support of Draymond in getting the help that he needs, the guys wearing ties in the media were more punitive with their takes, with one of them being Mad Dog Russo.
Listen, I think the one thing that folks who are close in the NBA have to think about with Draymond Green, Steve loves him, he knows him. Wendy covers him, probably has had a lot of interaction with him. He's a smart guy. Izzo loves him, everything else. The average fan out there has had enough.
Yeah.
I think people have to understand that. And you want to consider me the average fan? Go ahead. Look at me. I'm the average fan. I watch a lot of the NBA. I followed it for 60 years. I love the NBA.
Well, you talk to the average fan every day.
I do. And they've had enough of Draymond Green. Really? I got to root for this guy again? This guy is up to this nonsense again? He has folks in the league who sort of think he's the greatest guy in the world. Basketball IQ is off the charts. He gets a little carried away, but boy, what a great guy he is. The average fan out there does not think that. The average fan out there thinks, I got to say it, I'm going to be honest, thinks Draymond's a clown. Hurts his team, always in trouble, maybe a little overrated. He's on a perfect team with his defense and his rebounding. The average fan, and that's the fan who sits there at the arenas and buys the tickets. The average fan doesn't have any sympathy for Draymond Green.
Before lashing out at him, Mad Dog said a lot of good stuff about Draymond as a player, like having one of the highest basketball IQs in the modern NBA, while praising his top-notch defensive abilities. But as good as he is on the court, there's really no room for the unnecessary antics that he'd been doing, and it only diminishes his value and tarnishes his reputation as a great player. Anyway, because of Draymond's long history of transgression, Stephen A. thinks that his latest incident with Nurkic was the last straw that would eventually push Draymond out of the Bay Area for good.
Draymond's whole career is in jeopardy right now. We just got to get to that point where we're willing to highlight what's transpiring here. And I don't mean in terms of jeopardy as it pertains to getting thrown out the league. I don't think anything will be that extreme. But I do think we need to keep ourselves open to the possibility this could be his last season in Golden State. you might look at Joe Lacob and say, I've had enough of this. Because let me tell you something that I know, and everybody knows I know Mr. Lacob, even though I haven't spoken in a while with him. This man spends an awful lot of money, and he is a high-end competitor. He believes on getting his money's worth in anything he chooses to invest in, and when it does not happen, heads will roll.
With Andrew Wiggins struggling and Clay playing like he's a shell of his former self in his contract year, we might be seeing the last remnants of the Dubs dynasty. With the way things are turning out for the Warriors so far this season, it's not entirely impossible that Mike Dunleavy Jr. will move some pieces here and there as the trade deadline approaches. And because of what transpired to Draymond in the last couple of days, there's a real possibility that he might be shipped out as well, along with the underperforming players in the Dubs roster, to maximize what's left of Steph Curry's prime. As Stephen A. said in the clip earlier, Lacob hates losing, and time again, we've seen that he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, whether it's about paying a hefty luxury tax or trading for blockbuster pieces. So if the Dubs can't get their problems fixed, I think we'll be seeing them ushering in a new era with Steph as their main piece, without Clay and Draymond flanking him on his side. Anyways, speaking of Steph Curry, here's his reaction toward the latest incident involving Draymond.
Yeah, that's the challenge, because we always told him you can't change who you are as a player, and the competitive spirit that you have, the physicality that you play with, but you can't give people reasons to lead, reasons to look at you a certain way. And to have to go, judge and jury every single incident that happens. So it's tough because we need him out there, and obviously the ejection changed the momentum or the emotions of the game. But that's going to be his challenge, and we're here to support him, here to have confidence in him to be able to do that. And because we obviously need him to win.
Now, as much as we want to condemn Draymond for his violent actions, there are two sides of the coin here regarding the Draymond situation. I mean, first and foremost, Draymond needs to get downright honest with himself and acknowledge the fact that what he did in the past and the things that he's still doing are just flat out wrong and can't be justified by any means. Once he sends out his apologies and accepts his wrongdoings wholeheartedly, I think that's the time that Draymond gets all the necessary help that he needs in order to become better as a player and a person as a whole. Ron Artest or Meta World Peace has been on the same path before, and Draymond could definitely learn a thing or two about what he went through and how he overcame his own personal demons. But I don't think Meta should be the guy to help him. Under no circumstances should these two dudes link up. In my opinion, it's not the end of the road for Draymond, because the NBA under Silver's leadership is pretty much open to giving multiple chances to troubled players like Ja Morant. But for now, Draymond needs to take some time off and get whatever help he needs, whether it's mental or emotional help, before things get really out of hand.